Yo, so guys, welcome back to another video. This is another Lost in the Pond reaction, and this one is 11 US national parks that dwarf Britain's largest. And I'm not even gonna lie, I clicked this video mainly because of the thumbnail. I saw the thumbnail and I just sort of, where is it? Where the this one. Look at, like, I'm just gonna, this one here, just so you can see. Fucking Yellowstone National Park. Even this is clickbait or this is actually real, it's pretty much half the size of, this is Scotland here, but it would be like 1/3 of the size of the UK or England, or 1/4 of the size, like the quarter of the size, which is insane, absolutely insane. And I'm just sort of looking at this like, what the actual fuck? But I don't actually know if that's the case or if he's just giving us some sneaky clickbait. You know how it is with YouTube, you got to respect it, but we'll see, man. I mean, I'm interested in this. I do enjoy sort of the national park videos. They are one of the most enjoyable ones for me, like just seeing how crazy the landscapes are in the US compared to the UK, because I'm not gonna lie, I feel like all of Britain's national parks are quite similar. Like, we barely have mountains here, but like it's just gonna be sort of fields, low flat fields with a few hills here and there. And I mean, I don't really know what, I don't actually know any of Britain's national parks. I've looked on Google when I was looking at US ones, I was looking for UK ones, but I can't remember. They're obviously that not memorable enough for me, but I don't know any of Britain's national parks off my head because they're just not that recognisable or memorable. They're just not that exciting, I don't feel like. I feel like there's one or two that are quite cool, but I don't know. But let's get into this one. Quick shout out to Lost in the Pond. Links in the description to his channel. Subscribe to him. Like, yeah, I mean, his videos are fun to watch. You seem to always enjoy his reactions. And if you haven't subscribed to his channel, links in the description to do so. But let's get into this one. Let's see what he's going to say. And yeah, man, quick shout out to my Instagram and my Twitter. Links in the description for those. We're on the way to 10k on my Instagram. We're nowhere near yet, but yeah, you can help me get to that. I talked to some of you quite a lot. I had a chat with someone recently. It was a nice chat, and it's just fun to talk to people across the world. Again, not everyone from the US. Some people from other countries like Japan or I don't know, like Korea, Australia, just everywhere. It's just literally people everywhere, which is mind blowing. But yeah, links for that. Same for my Patreon. Links in the description for those interested. Let's get into this.
I'm Lawrence, and I'm on a quest to uncover all of the memos that Britain and America lost in the pond. And one of those memos pertains to the great outdoors, Mother Nature. David Attenborough's spare bedroom. I might have made that one up. Both countries are enriched with the kind of landscape that make you want to go, forget quarantine. Give me the evergreens, some aubergines, and a pack of wolverines. Perhaps not that last one. And each boast stunning protected areas known more commonly as national parks. Perhaps my favourite is the Lake District, the largest and most visited.
Lake District, that's the one, the Lake District. See, this is one that I do know actually is quite beautiful. And I know because my mum used to always go here. I've never actually been here myself, but I've seen pictures and I know this is like one of them that actually is really nice. But what is this? Is this like a little town? What is this town? I mean, no one's going to know this because this is in England. But this little town, this must be a nice little area to live in, I'm not even going to lie. Looks bougie as hell. This must be some expensive ass place, but I don't even know.
National park in England, and the second largest in the UK behind the Cairngorms in Scotland. With its sprawling countryside, expansive lakes, and people in flat caps, it's enough to make me adopt the cadence of a country file host. In all, the UK has 15 designated national parks.
So this is one here. I don't even know what the Norfolk National Park is. This is where I live. I don't even know this national park. Oh, is it the Broads, actually? Let me just see this. So this is just from my own knowledge. National shit. If it's the Broads, then fair enough. But oh my, what is happening here? Oh, it is actually the Broads. I didn't know that was a national park. God damn. That's kind of cool. On my doorstep. I've been there a couple of times, to be fair. But yeah, I mean, you look at the sizes. The ones in Scotland are obviously bigger, but Scotland is just cool, man. It's got mountains. It's actually got exciting sort of scenery to me. The UK is just a bit meh, you know what I mean? But
for context, that's more than California, which is almost twice the size. But then everything's bigger in America. As I reported 6 years ago in an article that was subsequently regurgitated with oddly identical wording by the Daily Mail, who didn't cite me as a source.
Alaska is equal to 7.05 UKs. Texas is equal to 2.86 UKs. Oh my days, bruh. US states that are larger than the UK. Bruh, the UK is
11
tiny,
states
man.
are larger than the UK. By sheer coincidence, the same number of US national parks make the Cairngorms look smaller than my front garden. And I don't have one. With America made up of so much land, it's not surprising that its national parks are so embarrassingly substantial, but even I couldn't quite conceive that its two largest dwarf not just the Cairngorms, but the nation of Wales. And so, without further sand dunes, let's take a look at those US national parks that dwarf Britain's biggest. President Theodore Roosevelt said that in the Grand Canyon, Arizona has a natural wonder which is in kind absolutely unparalleled throughout the rest of the world, except for my mustache. Surprisingly though, it's the smallest US national park on this list. In 2019, the National Park Service, accounting for public and private land, recorded an area of 4,800 kilometers squared. That's about 1.1 Cairngorms.
Fucking hell, man.
So, okay, in that sense, it doesn't exactly dwarf it, but like every other entry on this list, it's larger than Rhode Island. And if you could stretch the Grand Canyon into a single straight line, none of us would survive the resulting earthquake. No, if you could stretch the Grand Canyon into a single straight line, it would travel from the top of the Cairngorms to the bottom of the Lake District. Also, Britain's second tallest mountain is located in the Cairngorms. It's called Ben Macdui, which comes from Scottish Gaelic meaning Macduff's Hill. I will hereafter refer to it as Macduff's Hill because, you know, Shakespeare, but also because I'm not convinced I know how to pronounce McDewey. Anyway, the Grand Canyon's north rim tops out at twice its height. Everglades National Park, known affectionately to me as the Broads of America, is surprising in its own right. I mean,
the Broads. So I guess he does know the Broads in the UK then.
National parks are usually synonymous with America's West, but this tropical wilderness with its herons, alligators, and whatever the hell this is, sits within the southern tip of Florida. It is larger in overall area than the Grand Canyon sounds like quarantine food, and it is the third largest national park in the lower 48. It stands to reason then that it also eclipses Britain's biggest at 6,107 kilometers squared. The Everglades is equal to roughly 1.3 Cairngorms. However, famous for its expanse of wetlands, the Everglades is not known for its height. That's why it's the only park on this list with a less impressive elevation than Macduff Hill, even if the next entry just about beats it. High up in the Arctic region of Alaska, one of America's lesser-known national parks is quietly and frigidly providing spectacular views of nature at their most surprising. Like the Everglades, it has sprawling wetlands, but also unfathomable sand dunes and snow-capped mountains. It's also larger than Delaware. Among the least visited national parks in the country, this 7,000 square kilometers of land equates to 1.6 Cairngorms, and its tallest mountain, named Mount that is just 470 feet taller than Macduff, so okay, this one doesn't exactly set the world on fire, but our next entry might.
Yellowstone.
Straddling the northwest corner of Wyoming, Yellowstone National Park sits atop a supervolcano so massive it's impossible to talk about it without morphing into a BBC narrator describing the protracted events of an aviation disaster. While we don't know if or when an eruption might occur, we do know this. Yellowstone National Park is twice the size.
What the fuck's that transition? He just goes all serious to like fucking all happy lovey-dovey. I love that little transition or whatever you want to call it.
While we don't know if or when an eruption might occur, we do know this. Yellowstone National Park is twice the size of the Cairngorms. Famous for its geysers, waterfalls, and collection of not very convincing supernova, Yellowstone is the second largest national park in the lower 48. It's almost 9,000 square kilometers, and never mind supervolcanoes, the tallest mountain in Yellowstone is Eagle Peak, which stands taller than Macduff, Macbeth, and Lady Macbeth combined. Sounds like the work of geological witchcraft to me, and if that's true, something wicked this way comes. This one almost didn't make the list, not because it's not impressively huge, but because I almost confused it for the much smaller Glacier National Park in Montana. To be clear, Glacier Bay National Park is very decidedly in Alaska and is more than 3 times the size of the former. Heck, it almost pummels the Cairngorms by the same number. Mental! In Alaskan terms, the park is actually quite close to the state capital of Juneau and is a convenient cruise destination. This accounts for why it receives more annual visitors than most of its Alaskan counterparts. Its gentler climate probably helps too, not that our next entry would know anything about that.
Definitely.
In 1913, the hottest ever air temperature recorded on Earth was, recorded. It was here, at the former Furnace Creek Inn in California, that Death Valley entered the record books when it registered a career-ending 134 degrees Fahrenheit. You could say it was burned at the stake. but yet more witches dwell within. At around 13,800 square kilometers, it is easily the largest national park in the contiguous United States, to the extent that it's around 3 times the size of the Cairngorms. And the third witch of Death Valley goes by the name of Telescope Peak, which at 11,000 feet makes Macduff look like its microscopic brother. Our next entry is anything but. Not just one of Chicago's famous street intersections, Clark and Lake, or Lake Clark, is the 5th largest national park in the United States. And for a lark, let's embark on Lake Clark Park's Stark Arc so no one's left in the dark. Hark! It's almost twice the size of Yellowstone National Park. That means at 16,304 kilometers squared, it's roughly equal to 3.6 Cairngorms. Given its proximity to cruise ships, it's on par with Glacier Bay for annual visitors and far more than its nearest Alaskan counterpart. Just a tad larger than Lake Clark, my cat national park is what you'd get if you took the average area of Connecticut and New Jersey. The park is named after one of my new favourite peaks, a large stratovolcano with a wide crater lake just casually hanging out on top. It's a good 2,500 feet taller than Macduff.
I just want to see that again. Look how wild this looks, bro. What the fuck? This is so just what's not satisfying to see. That's not the word I'm looking for, but it's just so cool to look at, man. Look at this, bro. It's like you just sort of spilt blue, light blue paint just in where the water is, literally.
It's a good 2,500 feet taller than Macduff, and to further the Macbeth reference, does look a bit like a cauldron. And if that wasn't enough, the park by itself is 16,500 square kilometers, or 3.7 Cairngorms, and you ain't seen nothing yet.
Oh my days.
At this point in the video, I'm going to pause and take a moment to think about the biggest thing I've ever seen, and then remember that still doesn't include the 3 largest national parks in America. The 3rd largest of those is Denali National Park and Preserve, which weighs in at approximately 4.4 Cairngorms, or, Slovenia. It's perhaps not...
Fuck me! It's bigger than fucking European country, decent-sized European countries. And they're just getting bigger, man.
Surprising that Alaska, a state whose total area is 7 times larger than the UK, protects such unfathomable stretches of land. But with Denali, there's also the small matter of the focal point. Reaching at a height of 20,000 feet is almost 5 times as tall as Macduff, and 4.5 times the size of Ben Nevis. No other peak in North America measures up.
Ben Nevis is the tallest one in England, isn't it? Or in the UK.
But the park itself is not even the largest in Alaska. I contend here and now that no national park in America bears a more epic name than the Gates of the Arctic. One day I will enter the park with sword and armour and take up arms against Steve the Ice Dragon. Until then, though, from my dwelling in Chicago, I can only marvel at its monstrous size. The park, not Steve. At 34,000 square kilometres, it's the size of not only 7.5 Cairngorms...
Are you dumb? This isn't even the biggest...
but 1.7 Wales and 2.5 Northern Islands. Situated entirely north of the Arctic Circle, it is the least visited member of the national park system. This might also have something to do with the fact that there are no roads anywhere in the park. Imagine navigating Belgium on foot. That's how big it is. That said, despite being bigger than Rhode Island, Delaware and Connecticut combined, it's nowhere near the biggest.
Oh my days.
It might sound like the name of a hospital, but Alaska's Wrangell-st Elias is far and away the largest member of the US National Park System. It's so big it should be its own state. I mean, it's the size of Arkansas, or 2 Haitis, or 2.5 Waleses, or 6 Yellowstones. And at 53,000 square kilometers, it really does dwarf the Cairngorms. In fact, it's almost 12 times as big.
What the fuck, man? Look how big that... It's kind of shaped like Alaska, but it's just a small little sort of version of it. What the fuck? That's insane, man. I'd like to see this compared to the UK. Hopefully he does that as a whole, because he said 2.5 times bigger than Wales. So it's probably what, nearly half the size of England, maybe, or maybe 1/3.
Cozying up to the Canadian border, and I don't think this gets emphasised enough, the park is adorably shaped like a baby Alaska. And if that's the baby, just imagine how big its mother is. If the park ever became the 51st state, it would be the 29th largest in the Union. On top of that, it boasts America's 2nd tallest peak and 4th highest volcano, one that violently erupted 2,000 years ago. Its name? Mount Churchill, named for a British statesman you might have heard of. As Churchill himself once said, Now is not the end, it is not even the beginning of the end, but it is perhaps the end of the beginning. Actually, it's just the end. Thank you for watching. Let me know in the comments below which
so
national
confused what
park
you meant
you're
by
most
that.
excited about visiting once all of this blows over. Don't forget you can follow me on Twitter.
Yeah, shout out to Lost in the Pond, man. Links all in the description for anything you want to see of him, his channel or whatever it is. But shout out for another banging video. But man, it's crazy, man. It's absolutely nuts how big national parks are. I mean, what's it called again? I couldn't say the name. It's such a weird name. Where is it? Wait.
Might sound like the name. The biggest.
I can't say that. Wrangell-st. Compared shit to England. I gotta see this map. Fuck, I can't type, man. Images. Oh, there's not any. That's annoying. But fuck me, it is big. I just like sort of seeing the comparisons, but size. 13.2 million acres. England's. That's not what I want to see. Will it show it in acres? It won't, will it? 32. So I mean, 32. So it's nearly half. It's fucking nearly half the size of England, man. Fuck me. That is insane. That's absolutely crazy, man. I don't know why, but I find the sort of size differences so like just wild. If you could stretch the Grand Canyon into a single straight line, none of us would survive the resulting earthquake. As humans sometimes hit or miss, but that one was good. I actually missed that one, I'm not gonna lie. They're called Monates. They are very docile and opposed to English white rabbit, which can rip your head off. Who remembers Yellowstone, Yogi Bear and Boo Boo? As an Alaskan, I really appreciate it when you said the lower 48. Cairngorms sounds like a measurement. How big is Saturn? Answer 3 million Cairngorms. I'm actually quite surprised that the UK's largest national park actually measures up to be some respectable size next to the USA's. Yeah, I mean some of them were decent size, but wait, it does comprise a quite substantial chunk of the Scottish Highlands. It covers about 5.8% of Scotland. But then some of them were just so big in the US. The Daily Mail, what a pinnacle of journalistic integrity. In Kentucky, David Boone National Forest is throughout the state and breathtaking. I do like national park videos though, and I mean, yeah, hopefully you enjoy this one. Let me know some more videos like this you want to see, maybe to do national parks or more Lost in the Pond. And yeah, let me know your thoughts on this. Again, the fact that it's nearly half the size of England is just mind blowing to me. But yeah, man, hopefully you enjoy this one. More reactions on the way, and then until next time, like, subscribe. Peace.